Historical documentaries and historical docuseries are perhaps the most popular forms of media content in regards to having history displayed on our television screens. There are literally tens of thousands of documentaries available covering pretty much all aspects of ancient history and modern history as well. So I will not be saying the documentaries in this list are the top 10 historical documentaries of all time, as I haven't seen anywhere enough documentaries to even make that assumption. But what I will say is that this list contains my top 10 historical documentaries and docuseries which stuck out to me for one particular reason or another, which I will delve into in greater detail within the list. But each of these documentaries is unique, has great storytelling, and does an overall good job of displaying the historical facts as well. And also, if you haven't, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I post videos on historical movies and TV shows on a regular basis. And number 10, it is The Last Tsar, a show that highlights the difficulties of being a monarch in a country that is looking for autocracy and the power of the royal family to be diminished. The Last Tsar is a Netflix original docuseries which follows the life of Nicholas II, who was the last Tsar of Russia till he was deposed in the Russian Revolution. This is a great recommendation for all fans of historical documentaries, as the Russian Revolution is not often explored or displayed on the small screen, and this show does a fantastic job of displaying the social and political instability in Russia during this time, and it also highlights the viewpoint of the common folk towards the royal family as well. With only 6 episodes, the plot moves along at a steady pace, and it throws the viewers into the peak of a revolution from the get-go. The acting by the main cast and the storyline here is great, with effective use of narration by historical professors and experts to further expand the story taking place on our television screens. It is also refreshing to see that historical accuracy was taken seriously and the history behind the Russian Revolution was told in an honest, educational, and engaging way. So if you're looking for a docuseries to transition you into Russian history, then The Last Tsar is my recommendation for you. At number 9, it is Hitler's Circle of Evil, a docuseries focusing on the life of Adolf Hitler from his childhood to his eventual rise as the leader of the Nazi Party. This docuseries also pays close attention to the rise of the Third Reich, depicting how Hitler was able to take a small, irrelevant Nazi party and make it slowly gain power and influence through his extraordinary oratory skills, resulting in the Nazi Party being eventually able to take control of Germany's entire government. This docuseries really highlights how the small biases and prejudices in a society could make even regular common folk start harboring hate and racist attitudes towards a minority community. This docuseries has amazing acting by the entire cast, especially by the actor who plays Hitler, as he really does a fantastic job of portraying all the psychological and emotional charisma of the dictator in a truly awe-inspiring way. Hitler's Circle of Evil also benefits from great storytelling, narration, and set pieces as well. This documentary does stumble at times in regard to fleshing out the secondary characters and maintaining historical accuracy, but Hitler's Circle of Evil is a fantastic docuseries which will really make viewers understand how the Nazi Party grew as rapidly as it did. 8th spot on this list goes to Roman Empire, a docuseries based around various emperors and key figures from the Roman Empire such as Commodus, Julius Caesar, and Caligula, with all of them leaving an everlasting mark on Roman history. This show is a mixture of a historical drama and a documentary, with the story playing out on the screen and then being further delved into and explained by narrators and professors in Roman history. I really enjoyed seasons 1 and 3, which focused on Commodus and Caligula, 2 emperors of the Roman Empire who are not as well known to audiences and are interesting enough to deserve having a full season dedicated to their lives. The second season, which focuses on Julius Caesar, I felt was the weakest, and it did feel a little bit out of place. Also, the acting for most of the cast was subpar, and Caesar's story has already been told in many other shows and documentaries in a much more effective manner. I feel like they should have looked at a more lesser known emperor from Roman history. But if you're looking for a docuseries that is easy to get engrossed into and presents some of the complex history of the Roman Empire in a simplified manner, then the Roman Empire is the documentary for you. At number 7, it is Barbarians Rising, a documentary series focusing on various rebel leaders who stood against the Roman Empire and the Roman Republic, with each rebel trying their best to attain various degrees of success in their attempts to defeat the Romans. Some of the historical figures whose story gets covered in this documentary series is Hannibal, Spartacus, Boudica, Arminius, and Attila the Hun, just to name a few. Barbarians Rising is a documentary series which is probably a bit less historically accurate than some of the other documentaries mentioned in this list, but it also is a lot more entertaining than some of the documentaries in this list as well, as Barbarians Rising covers a range of different periods in Roman history, and the battle scenes are also amazing here as well, much better than you would expect from a standard documentary. The acting is decent and even the dialogue is pretty good, so you are getting a very entertaining show overall, even if it is not as historically accurate as I would have liked. The narrators and so-called experts seem to just be reading from a script sometimes and aren't very enthusiastic, but overall, Barbarians Rising is a great documentary series which will be of interest to people looking for a more casual and easy to watch documentary. At number 6, it is Age of Samurai Battle for Japan, a documentary series which covers one of Japan's most brutal and deadliest eras in feudal Japan, covering the tail end of the Sengoku period from 1551 to 1616. This documentary covers the story of 3 powerful daimyos from Japan's feudal era: Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, each of whom plays a significant role in unifying Japan and bringing an end to feudal rule in the country. Age of Samurai grips you from the get-go, throwing you straight into the middle of a civil war and battle after battle, which highlights just how dangerous and turbulent these times were for samurai and common folk alike. This series is a great gateway that can be used to get introduced to Japanese history and the cultural norms and society of medieval Japan. But this is not a history book by any means, as there are a great number of historical inaccuracies in this documentary, and some of the narrators are not very interesting either. But if you're looking for a documentary series about Japanese history and the samurai, then Age of Samurai Battle for Japan is definitely a great place to start that journey. At number 5, it is They Shall Not Grow Old, a documentary film based around the First World War, which is directed and produced by Peter Jackson. This documentary uses original footage of World War I from the Imperial War Museum's archives, and most of the content is actually previously unseen content as well. This film has interviews from many veterans who fought in the conflict, and they share their harrowing experiences of the war, and this narration alongside modern production techniques creates a really humbling and engaging documentary. This documentary is perhaps one of Peter Jackson's finest works, as his production skills are on full display. He is effectively able to bring World War I to our screens in a way audiences may have never seen before. By using unseen colorized footage and high quality voice actors as well, this takes They Shall Not Grow Old to a new category of documentaries. There's not much to critique about this documentary film. The entire cast and production team put their heart into this documentary, and is definitely a must watch for any person interested in finding out more about World War I. And number 4 is the BBC documentary series The Story of India, which is written and presented by renowned historian Michael Wood, where he covers different aspects of Indian history. This 6-episode documentary series covers thousands of years of Indian history, starting from the first migration of people from Africa into India, ending with the partition of India in 1947. In this documentary series, Michael Wood travels to each place he talks about within the documentary, so that way we get to better understand the histories of the Indus Mountains, the Ganges, and several other parts of north and southern India, through examination of archaeological and historical evidence, as well as discussions with the locals living there as well. This documentary is unique as it tries to dispel many myths about India that Western viewers may have, through the usage of historical facts and evidence, as we're able to see how even great ancient civilizations such as the Romans and the Greeks all had great respect and economical ties within India. So if you're looking for a documentary series which will teach you a lot of little known but interesting facts about India, then The Story of India is my recommendation for you. At number 3, it is Five Came Back, a documentary series based on the 2014 book Five Came Back, a story of Hollywood and the Second World War, written by journalist Mark Harris. This series explores the experiences of 5 US film directors, John Ford, William Wyler, John Huston, Frank Capra, and George Stevens, and their work on the front lines during the Second World War. This documentary is unique as it has 5 household directors like Steven Spielberg and Guillermo del Toro tell the story of one director each, and they share how these directors volunteered to leave America and film the war on the front lines during World War II. I cannot rate this documentary series highly enough. It truly does give an honest and unique perspective to World War II that most viewers will not have seen before. There's literally nothing I would critique or improve about this documentary. It takes everything you want in a docuseries such as historical accuracy, non-biased perspectives, and decent acting and pacing, and nails it from the get-go. So if you're looking for a riveting documentary about World War II that will be a gateway to dozens of other World War II documentaries, then 5 Came Back is my recommendation for you. The second spot on this list goes to World War II in Color, a documentary which depicts various major events of World War II using original and colorized footage. In this 13-episode documentary, events across the North African Campaign, the Pacific War, Eastern Front, and Western Front are covered in exceptional detail, bringing the real counts of soldiers during these battles to life in a magnificent and endearing manner. World War II was one of the most horrific events in the history of mankind, and the documentary does not shy away from highlighting just how harrowing and dangerous these battles and times were for soldiers and common folk alike. There are a large number of documentaries around World War II, the Nazis, and the Allied forces, but this one stands out to me as an exceptional documentary due to the expert knowledge of the narrators and the great use of original World War II footage, alongside accurately depicting the military and political strategies deployed during this time. So if you're looking for an excellent World War II documentary, then World War II in Color is my top recommendation for you. The top spot on this list goes to Rise of Empires Ottoman, a TV series which shows in great detail the siege and fall of Constantinople by Mehmed the Conqueror, a documentary series which will be of particular interest to historical military TV show fans. And this entire show is about the military tactics and strategy needed to successfully maintain a siege against a well-fortified city. Emperor Mehmed deals with a number of obstacles and struggles to get past the impregnable defenses of Constantinople, while also simultaneously having to contend with betrayals, disease, and a constrained amount of time to finish the siege before reinforcements come to the aid of the Byzantine Empire. If you enjoy the more military and warlike elements of documentaries and historical TV shows, then Rise of Empires Ottoman is a great recommendation for you, as the show has a magnificent cast, amazing use of commentary by historians, and a surprisingly accurate level of realism regarding siege tactics and stratagems. So if you're looking for a documentary series that is brutal, entertaining, and will keep you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, then Rise of Empires Ottoman is my recommendation for you, and is also, in my opinion, the most unique and interesting documentary I have come across so far. So if you did enjoy this video, so please do like and comment down below, and maybe leave a recommendation of what other content you'd like to see in the future. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe, as I post videos on historical movies and TV shows on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching.